What's going on, everyone? Ains here from Seasoned Gaming, back with one of my favorite things, a new statue. So as you can already see, this is the next in the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt line from Prime 1 Studios, and this is going to be Triss Merigold. I also have the Dark Horse figure in the pop here, which we'll use for scale a little later. But as you may know if you follow the channel, I previously reviewed the Geralt statue from the same line and loved it. It was my first Prime 1 piece, one of my favorite statues I have in my collection. Now, shortly after that arrived, I placed an order for this. I believe it or not, I ordered this back in December of 2016. So it has been 2.5 years I've been waiting for this statue. Just arrived from Sideshow yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I jumped in right away and gave you a real good look at it, as I always do. So I'm super excited for this. Triss is one of my favorite characters. I love The Witcher. Nothing more really needs to be said. So why don't I go ahead and get started, and we'll see what we've got. Okay, so we've got the box open now. First things first, on top of the box when you opened it, you do get a Prime 1 Studio calendar. Last Geralt one didn't come with this, so this is pretty cool. You know, if you're just a big collector of statues or certain IPs, you know, it's cool to have. Obviously an advertisement for the next Geralt statue. I did not order that one, only because I don't really like that armor set. Really picky about the statues that I have in my collection, so despite loving Geralt, despite loving The Witcher, just didn't go ahead and order that one. And then as usual, they tell you kind of how to assemble the Triss. Now this is the exclusive version, so this comes with an additional spell. As you can see in a lot of the pictures here, she's holding an orange flame like this. The exclusive comes with a second flame, which is actually blue, which I think is pretty cool. So go ahead and see what we've got. So right away I did notice that the box for this is a lot smaller than Geralt, but if you saw my Geralt review, the base on that and the chort that he's standing on is huge, and so they needed some extra space to have that base. I think this base is a little smaller. This statue supposedly sits between 22 and 24 inches high, so it might be a little smaller than the Geralt, but we'll take a good look. Triss's torso, and right away, guys, right away we're in trouble. The statue is broken. Alright everyone, sorry for that transition, but as I just said, there are two pieces of this torso that are broken. Very disappointing. I did stop the recording. I contacted Sideshow today. I have a ticket in with them, so I hope they and or Prime 1 can get me sorted out rather quickly. But they say it could take up to a week just to get a response to the pictures. And so I don't want to wait to finish this video. I'm going to set these couple pieces of the belt aside, and we're just going to move on. So let's go ahead and do that and take a look at the rest of the statue. So let's take a look at the base, which, you know, if you know these Witcher statues, they're one of the most important parts because they're very, very detailed and there's a lot to them. So they're also very weighty and usually quite large, which this one doesn't disappoint again. So let me go ahead and first we'll take a look at the bottom. As you can see, this is the Triss Merigold Exclusive. Edition size is 500. I got number 116. We'll see if that's replaced, of course. But here you see, just like a Geralt statue, this comes off on the front, I presume, yes. And this is magnetized here, and that's probably the symbol for the Lodge of Sorceresses, which is what Triss is a part of. Whereas for Geralt's base, it has the White Wolf, of course, for the School of the Wolf on the Witchers. Again, there's some really great detail, shading, coloring, painting for what is shown here. There's some things I need to piece apart here, but what this is, as usual in the description of the statue, they just say that Triss is standing over a beast. Likely because there are so many different beasts and variations of them in the Witcher universe. Like I had to point out in the Geralt statue, he was actually standing on a chort, which is a very specific enemy. Here, based on what I'm looking at, this looks to be a necrophage, more specifically probably a drowner. You can just tell by the skull, the eyes, the ears, etc. Let me move this so you can see it a little more clearly. As you can see, the drowner is kind of, you know, obliterated here, which is what you would expect from Triss. So I'm going to put this base down. let me take out the other pieces of the box, and then what I'll do, as I usually do, is I'll rearrange the camera so I can give you an up close and detailed look at this. Now, being the exclusive edition, this should have multiple spells in her hand, which I see here. So here's one of her hands where she's holding a book that is on fire. Then there is the exclusive blue flame. So that's the difference in the exclusive edition there. It's relatively minor, but it's always nice to get that exclusive edition, not only because you get the extra piece, which is unique, but there's less of them. So the standard edition is 1,000 pieces. This edition is 500. Let me see what else is in the box here. Her head, you know, that's kind of important. So I need to be careful here because there's some strands of hair that are molded, and the last thing I want to do is break another, you know, have something else break on this. So let me figure out the best way to get this out. This is packaged really strangely. Sorry guys, like I said, this is a little strange how they did this. So one of the nice things when you're talking about statues of this level of price point, there's some things you really expect. You know, you have your entry-level statues that are in the $200 to $300 range, and there's a specific detail that you'll see with those statues. Once you get up to the prime ones like this that are ranging in the $600 to $800 range, there's a whole different level of quality that you expect, and you should, right? Because you're paying the money. So one of the things I look for when I pull something like this out of the head is, what does the paint look like on the face? How detailed did they get to the character and how it should be represented? The shading of it. Is there any overlap of the paint in different areas that there shouldn't be? Like you'll see in some collector's edition statues, those are usually pretty poor quality. The paint is low grade, not a lot of attention to detail. Here, you're seeing what you want to see. Her face is shaded beautifully. She even has all of the freckles as you would expect them. Her eyes are the color you would expect. The detail of the hair strands is almost individual. It's really, really well done. So again, let me get the rest of this out, reorganize the camera. I'll give you an up-close look at that. But that's a good sign. Here are her arms. And I believe, like I said, this is a little smaller than the Geralt statue. I believe that is it. So let me get this out of the way. Bear with me 1 second. I'll adjust the camera and give you a better look at everything. All right, so let me give you a quick up-close view here. So as I was saying, and I'll let that focus, you can see the level of detail on her lips, the freckles as they should be, the shading around her eyes and the makeup, even her eye color, and just the individual strands of hair and how those are done to look realistic. This is a level of quality that you will not see on lesser statues, and it's that level of difference throughout the statue, which is why collectors such as myself pay this kind of money. So you'll see the same on the torso, and I'm going to try not to focus on the belt here because it's making me a little upset. But again, beautiful detail work on her actual outfit from The Witcher 3. You can see all the striping in the pants, all the touching details, the stitching in the boots, everything to do with her outfit here, even the individual shading of all the little details on the blue itself, not just the stitching and the seams, but actually, you know, the paint as it looks weathered and worn in certain areas. Like I said, the matching Lodge of Sorceress's necklace here to the front of the statue as well. Now, like I said before, the bases here for these statues are what are really, really impressive. So looking at this, and they're heavy, like I said, let me give you, if I can, an up-close view here. You can see the detail inside, you know, all the blood that looks realistic and pooled, the detail in the face of the slain drowner, the Lodge of Sorceress's emblem, and all of the stone and stalagmites. And just the painting on those, you know, it looks almost wet when you really look up close to it. And so it's that level of detail that really, you know, brings a piece like this together. And really, when you have it sitting on your shelf, that really makes you appreciate it. So let's put the whole thing together now. We'll take a closer look. So really, there you have it. Triss of Merigold statue from Prime 1 Studio, the exclusive edition. As you can see, I've put the blue flame on. Wasn't really too hard to put this one together. It matches very, very well with the Geralt and just the line in general. You can swap out this this book of Fire Flame as their standard one as well. So one thing we always talk about with statues is it's really hard to get perspective for people who don't collect these. It doesn't really come across the size and scale of these. So even though this is one, despite the base, it's still a little smaller, 22, 23 inches, so a little less than 2 feet. Just to give you some perspective, this is the Triss Dark Horse 11-inch figure. These are really nice figures, by the way, especially for the cost. And then this is your standard pop, which is about 4 or 5 inches. So, you know, when I put these next to it, you can really see kind of the scale that you're dealing with here. This is a $40 11-inch figure, and you can see it really doesn't hold any candle whatsoever to a proper piece. So I really like this. I'm very pleased with the level of detail, especially on the base and some of the outfits. And just like I said with the Geralt statue, these are expensive, but if you're a real big fan of the franchise, of the game, of the characters, then, you know, price is in the eye of the beholder, right? It is, it's worth to you individually a different amount than it would be to someone else. So for me, these are very well worth it. And I love this. I hope they can get me one without a broken belt here very soon. So to close out, let me just bring over Geralt and I'll show them to you together. So there you are. Triss standing next to Geralt. And like I said, the actual size here is very, very similar. The character model is proportionate. The actual base, the circumference of the base is actually the same as well. He just looks a little taller simply because of obviously the positioning standing on the short head here. But otherwise, absolutely fantastic piece. As you can see there, just the, you know, I keep saying it, but the level of detail and the quality you get. So I highly recommend these if you're a fan. Don't wait, especially particular with Geralt that already sold out. There are a few pieces of Triss left, series coming as well. But with the Witcher TV series coming on Netflix later this year, these pieces will be sought after. So if you like them, I'd jump on them now. As always, if you have any further questions, I am happy to answer them. I'm a big collector here and have these things looking at me all the time. So just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for tuning into Seasoned Gaming. As always, really appreciate those likes and subs. And we will see you with the next statue.